Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Let me tell you about an interesting story. It started on Twitter with some mums and grandmas. They had received some propaganda from various government public health agencies in Ontario that I think a lot of people see and tune out. Maybe that's just me. It's endless government public service messages. I think they're engineered to be boring. And after a while, it's all just the same droning background noise, like an old air conditioner or flying on a plane or a detuned radio. It's just a hum. But these moms and grandmas read it. I suppose that's what moms and grandmas do. And they started to tweet about it to their few dozen followers. The story had been ignored by big shots in the media, CBC, CTV, the Globe and Mail. Those guys are 100% in favor of lockdowns. The harsher, the better, for the little people, not for themselves. These days the media is in favor of most things that Trudeau wants because they pretty much all work for him in one way or another. But this, or versions of this, is what the mums were tweeting about. What to do if your child is dismissed from school but doesn't have any symptoms. So nothing. Maybe someone else in the class was sick, but your child has no symptoms. Your child is not sick, but your child is being sent home from school healthy. So what should you do? A normal parent or a normal doctor would probably say, oh, just keep an eye on things, but don't be weird about it. The Peel region, which is a large area outside of Toronto, says, and I quote, the child must self-isolate, which means stay in a separate bedroom, eat in a separate room apart from others, use a separate bathroom if possible. If the child must leave their room, and why would they? I mean, they're a child. Stay there for 2 weeks in your room. They should wear a mask and stay 2 meters apart from others. Hang on, do you have to do both? A mask and 2 meters apart? It is strongly recommended to test for COVID-19 on or after the date listed in your letter. I'm serious. They recommend 2 weeks of solitary confinement in the child's own home. Wear a mask in their own home. Don't get within 6 feet of anyone in your own home, even if you're wearing a mask. Don't see other family members in your own home, even if no one here has any symptoms at all, including the child. Oh, and that's not all. Look at the next column in this flyer. For other kids in the same address, any other children who live in the same address should stay home from school until the child who is a close contact returns to school. Oh, so the whole family is knocked out of commission. And the last point, should not go out to play with friends or see family who don't live with you. So not only does a child who has no symptoms have to stay at home and quarantine, but all the other kids in the same home who don't have any symptoms and don't even know someone who had symptoms, they have to stay home too, and they can't visit anyone else either. And remember, this is all for a kid sent home with no symptoms. This is madness. Now, as you can see, this is a fancy poster that was obviously planned and laid out and reviewed and edited. It's not just some slapdash comment. It's not just some email written by somebody. These are the official rules published by the official people. And folks follow these rules because people are scared. They're scared of the virus, I think, but I think by now we all know that kids really don't get this virus. And if they get it, they recover, if they even know they had it. And I think people are really scared of the government more than anything. The government that's fining people thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. So I think some people are doing terrible things to their own children out of fear, like turning them into prisoners in solitary confinement. Well, one of the few lockdown skeptics in the mainstream media is Anthony Furey of the Toronto Sun. He wrote about these tweets and this cruel policy. I'll read a bit from his great article in the Toronto Sun, and I salute Anthony for this. Experts call Peel guidelines to place children in solitary quarantine cruel punishment, drastic measure not supported by science and could have long-lasting psychological effects. Peel Health has issued guidelines to parents instructing them to keep any children who have been sent home because a classmate has tested positive for COVID-19 isolated in a separate room from all other family members for 14 days. You read it. The severe guidelines, which apply even to small children who were dismissed from childcare. I didn't even read that part. I read it as if it was school. It included childcare. We're talking children of tender years. They're being criticized by experts as harmful and not supported by science. Quote, this is cruel punishment for a child, especially for younger children 4 to 10 years old. Dr. Susan Richardson, a microbiologist and infectious disease physician who is also professor emerita at University of Toronto, wrote in an email to The Sun. Shutting a child off from their parents and siblings for up to 14 days in this manner could produce significant and long-lasting emotional and psychological effects. Can you imagine having a 4-year-old locked in their room for 2 weeks with no contact? Are you freaking mad? That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.